Yeah, so in this video, we'll be looking at the stable mode of operation of our IC555 or the 555 timer. Okay, so these are all the connections that we put, the external connections that we have. Okay, so when we want the IC555 to be in a stable mode. Okay, so here you can see, okay, there are three components extra. There is one, this R1 resistor, this resistor R2, and this capacitor C1. Okay, and the voltage across the capacitor, that is this node, is connected to both the threshold pin and the trigger pin. Okay, so in a stable mode of operation, the threshold pin and the trigger pin are actually shorted and are connected to the capacitor. Okay, so the voltage drop across the capacitor is fed to this threshold pin and the trigger pin too. Okay, and here we actually use the NPN transistor that we have inside, that is nothing but the discharge pin is connected to this R2, one end of R2. Okay, so now let us try and understand, okay, the stable mode of operation. Okay, so like always, let us try to understand with the help of the timing diagram. Okay, let me bring this up over here. Okay, let me have this here. Okay, so that there will be better understanding. Okay, right. Okay, so you have connected this circuit in this fashion. Okay, and at time t is equal to 0, you just powered on the IC555, that is you have connected this to VCC. Okay, so assume that initially the capacitor doesn't have any charge. Okay, so you have just switched on the VCC, so capacitor doesn't hold any charge. Okay, so the drop across the capacitor over here is nothing but you can say 0 volts. You just switched on. So at t is equal to 0 plus. Okay, so what I am describing is a moment just a millisecond after that you have switched on. Okay, suppose this is my axis, say this is my time axis, wherein in this graph I will be plotting the voltage across the capacitor, and this is my time axis, and in this graph I will be plotting the output voltage. Okay, so let us see. So a moment after I have switched on, that is at t is equal to 0 plus. Okay, so the capacitor, the voltage drop across the capacitor will be still 0. Okay, so that is nothing but the threshold pin will be seeing, okay, pin 6 will be 0 and pin 2 will also be 0. Okay, but we know from the previous videos that if VCC is equal to 15 volts, okay, so we know from the previous videos that this will be 2/3 VCC, that is nothing but 10 volts, and this is nothing but 1/3 VCC, that is nothing but 5 volts. Okay, so at t is equal to 0, what is happening? So let me call the top comparator as threshold comparator because it is connected to one of its pins is connected to the threshold pin. Okay, let me name this bottom comparator as trigger comparator. Okay, because one of its pins is connected to the trigger pin. Okay, so what happens to the threshold comparator? Okay, so its Vp is 0. Okay, and Vn is equal to 10 volts. So what does that mean? Vp is less than Vn. Okay, when Vp is less than Vn, so this is nothing but this goes to 0. So the threshold comparator's output is 0. Now what is happening to the trigger comparator? Trigger comparator Vp is equal to 5 volts and Vn is equal to 0 volts because Vn is connected to trigger and Vn is 0. Okay, here clearly Vp is greater than Vn and Vp is greater than Vn. What is output of the comparator? Output of the comparator is 1. When set is 1, okay, when set is 1, okay, so the output is 1 over here. Okay, and q bar is 0, and remember this output stage inverts this q bar, so what is your output here? In effect your output is 1. Okay, right. So let me draw that. So at t is equal to 0, okay, so let this be t is equal to 0. So this is where I am plotting the output of the capacitor or the voltage across the capacitor. This is where I am plotting the voltage across the output pin 3. Okay, so let me color them differently, let this be orange. Okay, so I am depicting the output with orange. Okay, so sorry for that. So as soon as you switch on, you switch on the Ashtable multivibrator, Ashtable 555 in Ashtable mode, okay, the output is 1. Okay, you have seen it here, the output is 1. Okay, now what happens is this capacitor starts charging. Okay, and this capacitor starts charging, and we know that the two important voltages in this entire circuit are the 2/3 VCC and the 1/3 VCC. So let this be my 1/3 VCC. So this is nothing but voltage across the capacitor. Remember, let this horizontal line be my 2/3 VCC line. Okay, so I switched on the 555 in Ashtable mode here. Initially voltage across the capacitor is 0, so corresponding to that the output is 1. Okay, that is clear. But so what is happening now? Okay, the capacitor starts to charge. Okay, so the voltage across the capacitor is rising now. Okay, the voltage across the capacitor is rising now. And what is the first checkpoint? The first checkpoint is 1/3 VCC. Okay, once the capacitor voltage across the capacitor reaches 1/3 VCC, what is happening? Let us see. Okay, so let me erase all these. Okay, let me erase all these. Okay, now the voltage across the capacitor is 1/3 VCC. So what would happen? Okay, let us say it is a bit above 1/3 VCC. Okay, so this Vn is a bit greater than 1/3 VCC. Okay, whereas this Vp is always at 1/3 VCC. That is nothing but here Vp is less than VCC. So the trigger comparator's output is 0. Okay, so over here what is happening? The threshold is now a voltage greater than 1/3 VCC, very near to 1/3 VCC, but Vn is at 2/3 VCC because of the potential divider. Okay, so of course Vn is greater than Vp, or Vp is less than Vn, so the output is still 0. Okay, because Vp is less than Vn, the output of the comparator, this comparator, is still 0, whereas the output of this comparator, it was previously 1, now it is made 0. Now when R and S inputs are made 0 0, we know that the output of the SR latch will continue to remain in its previous state. And what is its previous state? The previous state, it is 1. Okay, this is 1, Q bar is 0, and we know that the output stage inverts it, so the output is 1. Okay, so now let us try and draw this. So even till the value of the comparator is reached to 1/3 VCC, so V out is also high. Okay, so this is high, this is 0. Okay, so now what would happen when the capacitor starts moving above 1/3 VCC and it goes on moving till 2/3 VCC? Okay, now the capacitor is moving towards 2/3 VCC. The capacitor is charging now. Okay, remember it is getting charged through these two resistors, R1 and R2, and it is now moving towards 2/3 VCC. Now let us see what happens when the capacitor acquires a charge that is slightly a small 1 millivolt greater than 2/3 VCC. Okay, okay, so now let me remove all these. Okay, right, so what is happening here? The voltage across the capacitor, this capacitor, is nothing but a small value above 2/3 VCC. Okay, so that is nothing but this Vp. Okay, is a small value that is greater than 2/3 VCC, and this is of course at 2/3 VCC. Okay, and Vp, this P is always connected to 1/3 VCC, and now this is at 2/3 VCC. Now here what is happening? Vp is a small value greater than Vn. Okay, so once Vp is greater than Vn, your output will be 1 over here. Okay, and what is here? Here Vp is 1/3 VCC, Vn is 2/3 VCC, Vp is less than Vn, so output is 0. Okay, so when your reset is 0, okay, what happens to the output of the flip-flop? The output of the flip-flop is 0, but Q bar will become 1, and we know that the output, okay, inverts this Q bar, so the output is now made 0. Okay, so till 2/3 VCC, so till the capacitor acquires 2/3 VCC, your output was high, okay, your output was high, but once the capacitor acquires 2/3 VCC, okay, what is happening once it is acquiring 2/3 VCC, okay, so your output is now 0, okay, like you have seen over here, the output goes back to 0, okay, right. Now what happens once q is 0, q bar is 1, okay, so what this q bar is connected to, this q bar is connected to the base of the transistor, okay. So what this a one signal over here, what it makes is nothing but this transistor is switched on. Now the transistor is switched on, okay, and now this transistor provides a nice discharge path for this capacitor. Now this capacitor starts discharging through, okay, this R2, this C1 discharges now through R2, okay. So instead of going via R1 and VCC to ground, okay, so the current now takes the least resistance path through the transistor to ground, okay. So now the capacitor starts discharging through this R2 via this transistor towards the ground, okay. So this R1 and VCC do not come into picture anymore, okay. So now this C1 discharges through this R2 and the transistor. Why this transistor is on? Because the q bar is 1 and this is connected to the base, so this transistor is on, okay. So now the capacitor starts discharging through this R2, okay, right. So as the capacitor starts to discharge, you know, the voltage across the capacitor also decreases or declines, okay. So the voltage across the capacitor also declines, okay. What is the next point? The next point is when, okay, so yeah, yeah, so what is happening, the next point, or before that, let me before discharging, okay, uh, so yeah, so once the capacitor starts to discharge, okay, so the voltage drop across the capacitor starts to decline or decrease, okay. So now what happens is this reduces below 2 by 3, okay. So let me explain it nicely again, okay. So now your capacitor is somewhere over here. It is between 2/3 VCC and 1/3 VCC. It is between 2/3 VCC and 1/3 VCC. So what actually happens now is that okay. So this capacitance value is a value that is greater than 1/3 VCC, okay, but less than 2/3 VCC. In that time period, what happens is, because this threshold is less than 2/3 VCC, okay, so here Vp is less than Vn, so this becomes 0. Here also what happens, so this trigger is connected and this trigger, so this Vp is connected to 1/3 VCC, and the trigger has a value of a value less than 2/3 VCC but greater than 1/3 VCC, okay. So the voltage across trigger is greater than 1/3 VCC, that is nothing but Vp less than Vn. So the output of this trigger comparator is also 0. So what is happening, what is the input to the SR latch here? 0 0. So when the input to the SR latch is 0 0, it continues to be in its previous state. But what is its previous state? See, it became 0 over here, okay. So until it reaches the 1/3 VCC, your output continues to be 0, okay. Your output continues to be 0, okay. So now again, what happens when your capacitor, okay, what happens when your capacitor discharges to 1/3 VCC, okay. So when it discharges to a value a bit less than 1/3 VCC, okay, what happens is, okay, so this over here Vp becomes greater than Vn, so the output of the trigger comparator becomes 1, okay, and the same less than 1/3 VCC, okay. So this is somewhere around 1/3 VCC, but this is always 2/3 VCC, that is nothing but Vp is less than Vn, okay. So the output of this comparator is 0, okay. So that is nothing but the set is 1, that means this output is 1, okay, and that means this is nothing but 0, okay, and the output becomes 1. when the base is become 0, okay, this transistor is in cutoff, okay, this transistor is in cutoff. Again, that capacitor now starts to get charged from R1 R2, okay. So this path is cut off, okay, this path is not present anymore. Now the capacitor gets charged via R1 R2, okay, this capacitor C1 now gets charged via R1 and R2. Now you would have got the picture, right? So it would be charging through R1 R2 between 1/3 VCC and 2/3 VCC, okay. So in that time when it is charging, okay, so the output at the 555 timer is 1, okay, and during the time the capacitor is discharging, okay, that is when the capacitor value is falling from 2/3 VCC to 1/3 VCC, okay, what is happening, the output is staying at 0, okay, the output is becoming 0 and staying 0, okay, and during the time the capacitor is charging from 1/3 VCC to 2/3 VCC, okay, what is happening, the output across the capacitor becomes 1 and it stays at 1, okay. So this is how it goes on, okay. So the output, what is the output, if you see the output, okay, so it is nothing but a square wave. This type of signal is called a square wave, okay, and it is on for some time, off for some time, on for some time, off for some time, okay, right. Although the derivation of these time periods is not the scope of this syllabus, but you are supposed to remember these values, okay, right, okay. So the capacitor, the time, okay, the time duration for which the output is high is T1 is equal to 0.693 into R1 plus R2 into C1. This should make sense because the duration of the time for which it is on is nothing but the duration of the time the capacitor is charging, okay, and when the capacitor is charging it takes the root of R1 R2 and C1, so that is why you have R1 R2 and C1 in T1, okay. So T1 is also called T on, okay, so the duration of the time for which the output is on, okay. So T2 is now similarly 0.693. remember in the discharge path we have only R2, okay, into C1, okay. So this is also called T off. T off is nothing but the duration of the time for which the output is off, okay. Remember when the capacitor reaches the 2/3 value, okay, when it is discharging, when it reaches 2/3 value, and when the outputs change, to 0, okay, what happens, this transistor is on, which produces a least resistant path. We have seen it previously. This capacitor now discharges through this R1 or to the ground, okay. So this R1 doesn't come into picture, so that is what is being shown here, okay. Although the derivation will be learned by ECE folks in the next semester, so this semester the scope is limited, okay, but you are supposed to what do you say, remember this, okay, just a simple formula, okay. So now the time period of this square waveform, the time period is nothing but one full cycle. So this is one full cycle, isn't it? From this point to this point is one full cycle, and that keeps on repeating, okay. So that is nothing but the time period is nothing but T is equal to T1 plus T2, okay. So if I add these two expressions, simple algebra, I think most of you folks can do it. This will turn out to be R1 plus 2R2 into C1, okay. So that is nothing but the time period of the output square wave in an astable multivibrator, in a 555 IC used as a used in astable mode rather, okay, right. So the frequency is nothing but is 1 by time period, so that is nothing but 1.44 divided by R1 plus 2R2 into C1, okay. You just invert this, okay, you get this, okay. So it is not much of a rocket science going on over here, okay. So there is one more jargon that we have to introduce, that is nothing but duty cycle, okay. Duty cycle is nothing but the amount of time that the square wave is on, okay. So it is nothing but when compared to the total time period, okay. So the duration of the time it is on when compared to the total time period, that is nothing but T on plus T off, okay. and duty cycle is always given in percentage, so you multiply with 100% over here. I am sure if you plug in the numbers over there, this will turn out to be R1 plus R2 by R1 plus 2 R2 into 100%. So okay, so duty cycle is nothing but is given in percentage. It is nothing but the amount of duration, okay, the percentage of time the square wave is on compared to the percentage of time the square wave is off. Okay, so one limitation of this astable multivibrator in IC 555 is nothing but your T on can always will always be greater than T off. Okay, so you cannot have duty cycles that are less than 50%. Okay, you cannot have duty cycles that are less than 50%. Why? Because you see T on is 0.693 into R1 plus R2 into C1. This will of course be always greater than T2, that is nothing but T off, because this will always be less than this T1, or T1 will always be greater than T2. Okay, so when you are using IC 555 in astable mode, okay, a duty cycle of less than 50% is not possible. Always your duty cycles will be greater than 50%. Okay, right. So let us look at a simple problem. Okay, so not so difficult. So in an astable 555 oscillator is constructed using the following components. R1 is 1K, R2 is 2K, and capacitor is 10 microfarad. Calculate the output frequency 555 oscillator and the duty cycle. Okay, so let's plug in those equations. Okay, so in order to find the output frequency, F is nothing but 1 by T. Okay, and 1 by T is nothing but 1 by T on plus 1 by T off. Okay, so we have to calculate T on, T off in order to get everything. Okay, so what is T on? T on is nothing but 0.693 into R1 plus R2 into C. R1 plus R2, R1 is 1K, R2 is 2K, and this is 10 micro. Micro is 10 power minus 6. Okay, so this will roughly give me 21 milliseconds. You can please check the algebra later. Okay, so T off is nothing but 0.693 into R2 into C. R2 is 2K and C is 10 micro. That is nothing but 10 into 10 power minus 6. This will turn out to be 14 milliseconds. So the total time period is T on plus T off. Okay, so 21 plus 14 should give you roughly 35 milliseconds, and frequency is nothing but 1 by T. Okay, 1 by T is nothing but 1 by 35 milli. Okay, so this will give you somewhere around 28.6 hertz. Frequency is always given in hertz. Okay, and what else is asked? Duty cycle was also asked. Okay, duty cycle is, okay, I have given the formula. What is duty cycle? Duty cycle is T on by T on plus T off, and that formula is nothing but R1 plus R2 by R1 plus 2R2 into 100%. Okay, if I plug in the numbers, R1 plus R2 is nothing but 3K. Okay, so this is nothing but 5K. 2R2 is nothing but 2 into 2K is 4K. R1 is 1K. 4K plus 1K is 5K. Okay, into 100%. Okay, so this will give me, I think, around 60%. Okay, so if R1 is for the given condition, that is when R1 is 1K, R2 is 2K, and your C is 10 microfarad, what do you have? The output of the 555 IC is nothing but, okay, 60% duty cycle square wave. 60% of the time it is on, the rest of the 40% is off. Okay, 60% duty cycle square wave you get. And what is the frequency of that square wave? The frequency of that square wave is 28.5 or 28.6 hertz. Okay, yeah, so you can expect similar problems in the exams, okay, on a stable multivibrator. It should be pretty straightforward, I think. This explanation, so this also always goes between 2/3 VCC and 1/3 VCC. Okay, so while it is charging, it charges through R1 and R2. While it is discharging, the capacitor discharges only through R2. Okay, because the transistor provides a rather least resistance path, so this current wouldn't take this R1 path. It would most of it would go through, or rather everything would go through this one, and it gets discharges. Once it discharges through 1/3 VCC, what happens again, the capacitor starts charging, okay, and this this transistor is cut off, okay, and this route is cut off, so now the capacitor gets charged through R1 and R2. So this goes on between 2/3 VCC, 1/3 VCC, so the output will be a square wave, and it goes on until you switch it off. Okay, so that should finish the session on IC 555.